Are you a well-informed home buyer? Do you know, for instance, which single design and construction feature can have the biggest impact on the amount of comfortable living space in your home? Comfortable living space that's valuable to you while you live in the home, and that appeals to potential buyers should you ever sell it. If you don't know what that feature is, here's a hint. Look at these rooms. They're from several different homes located throughout the United States. Can you identify which design and construction feature they all have in common? It's the same feature that increases the amount of comfortable living space. If you answered that all these rooms are located in basements, you're partially correct, because they are. But that's not the complete answer. If you were surprised that these rooms are in basements, are you also wondering if the walls are cracked and smell of mildew, or if they leak water? Would you guess that the rooms are cold in winter? If that's what you're thinking, then think again. Because these basement rooms have walls that do not crack or mildew. These basements do not leak water, and they are warm in winter. How is it possible? It's possible because these basement rooms in modern homes share a common design and construction feature, which is the permanent wood foundation system. That's right, because unlike masonry block and poured concrete foundations, permanent wood foundations increase the comfortable living space by creating rooms that are warm and dry. Permanent wood foundations first became popular in the mid-1960s and continue to grow in popularity with home builders and home buyers because of the many features and benefits they provide. For example, permanent wood foundations are just that, permanent. They last, and they don't crack. Permanent wood foundations are energy efficient. Wood is a natural insulator, and it's easy to insulate to an R19 value or higher, and still have more living space than you would with masonry block or poured concrete foundations. Here's how. This is the exterior perimeter of the foundation. Here's how much interior space the insulated permanent wood foundation requires to achieve an R19 value. Now, look at the typical masonry block foundation, and at how much more interior space is required for studs and insulation to bring the masonry block foundation to the R19 value, not to mention the extra cost involved with constructing the additional walls. Even for a modest house that has a perimeter of 40 feet by 28 feet, with the permanent wood foundation, you can gain about 65 square feet of space that you'd lose with 8-inch masonry block and poured concrete foundations. And the entire basement is dry, warm, comfortable living space. The actual insulating and finishing is much easier too, as is the wiring and plumbing. You don't have the difficult task of trying to nail into concrete. You don't have to worry about the walls cracking the way masonry block and poured concrete foundations can and do. And because of the inherent design flexibility, initial design and remodeling can be as creative and as easy here as anywhere else in the house. Another benefit of the permanent wood foundation is that it's strong. Did you know that pound for pound wood can be stronger than steel? And a wood block only 1 inch by 1 inch by 2 1/4 inches can support 5 tons of weight. The natural strength of wood is further enhanced because the walls and floor of the permanent wood foundation work together to create what's called unitized strength. For example, the natural lateral forces that push in from the sides are equalized by those that push out, thus creating a stable foundation unit. But how does the permanent wood foundation stop water, insects, and rodents from entering your home? And how does it prevent rot and mildew? First of all, it's important to recognize that the permanent wood foundation system includes more than just wood walls and floors. In fact, the wood itself is different from the wood used in the rest of the house. It's pressure treated with foundation-grade preservatives that actually are chemically bonded to the wood. so that it becomes permanently resistant to insects and rodents that might be attracted to untreated wood. In addition to the foundation-grade wood used in the walls and floors, the permanent wood foundation system also includes superior drainage features, such as a gravel base, special waterproof caulk that stops moisture migration, a plastic water deflector, which acts much like a plastic raincoat, and a substantial layer of gravel as the initial backfill. The gravel and the plastic deflector direct water down and away from the house, so that it percolates to daylight or drains to a sump pump. As you can see, the permanent wood foundation system has several permanent defenses against leaks, which direct the water down and away from the house, decade after decade. The plastic water deflector and the gravel are seldom used with typical masonry block and poured concrete foundations because of the expense. So water builds up, cracking the walls and leaking into the lower levels of the house, destroying carpets, promoting mildew, and drenching insulation, making it ineffective.
15 years ago, we started building homes, and as most builders start out, we start out building block and pour wall foundations. Well, we had our share of callbacks. We had leaky, damp basements, and the homeowners would call us back and they would say, well, what can you do about this? Well, we ran across the wood foundation concept, and after virtually 300 houses that we have built with wood foundations, we've had absolutely no callbacks at all. And that, to a builder, is very important.
In 1948, the Forest Products Laboratories conducted a test, or began a test, in Saucier, Mississippi, with the same preservatives that are used in the wood foundation. After 40 years, none of these stakes have failed because of decay or insect attack. Because the chemicals are permanently bonded to the wood, they are safe for human contact and the environment.
It's a perfect stake, so it's a 1.
We love our home with the wood foundation. We just finished building it this last fall and just enjoyed our first winter here, and it was very comfortable. Our heating bills are very reasonable, and with a lower living area here that the children can play in, it's very comfortable. There's no dampness and no humidity problems with the rest of the house, and so we have a very comfortable living area and play area.
Here in Akron in the early 1970s, we first made contact with the wood foundation system. We investigated it through the National Forest Products standards, found that engineering-wise it proved very satisfactory, then contacted the builders advising them that we felt it would be a good system to consider. Mr. Zoltai, the builder here, built these buildings with the wood foundation and now informs us that the lower units, which used to be one of his least popular, are now his most popular because of the lack of humidity.
So, how much more does it cost to have a permanent wood foundation? Well, depending on your area of the nation, all these features, comfort, energy savings, ease of finishing and remodeling, added living space, and design flexibility may not add even a penny more to the cost of your home. Now that's value. And these and other organizations recognize that the permanent wood foundation is an investment with lasting value for the original owner and for subsequent owners. Whether you measure value in dollars per square foot or by the enjoyment you experience, the permanent wood foundation supports your design ideas, and it's probably the single most important design and construction feature you can choose for increasing the amount of comfortable living space in your new home.